Very good, Professor. Olivier Alam was fantastic, and Professor too. Actually, I tell you, I was very nervous for a couple of days. I'm usually able to talk in front of crowds for thousands, but this time all my friends is here, and my family is here. So I'm kind of very happy about that. And would like to start up with thank everybody who made the time today to come and celebrate with us. This only one day, we have this for 7 years. I designed this to make sure we always see the people who care about Kaqun, and the numbers are growing and growing and growing, and the countries are growing and growing. And also the people who's with me from a long time, they're still following us. And that's really, very good, I believe. So that's what really shows us a special property of the water. Truly, the water had going through 14 years of science. We run through with the water just like any other medicine you ever heard of, but this is only a water. So I want to go back a little bit for the people who's new to know a little bit more about the background of the water, and then we get on to more science. What is the, this one, I think. Yes. Okay, so we all know about this. This is really a truly unique water. This is the only water we know so far who's capable to holding 3 days in open bottles, keeping the oxygen almost the same oxygen parcel pressure. If you try any other water, you open it, maybe start up much higher oxygen parcel pressure, but in 2 days or 1 day later, the oxygen will deplete or completely gone. That is false promising to other people, because that means if you drink it, it will release very quick, and you actually not going to get any benefit. Your cells will not get benefit of the oxygen what want to deliver. The research started, and when I see the first report, I did not believe it myself. And every time somebody asked me, and I could not explain, I always refer to Otto Warburg. Look at Otto Warburg work, but that was not enough. We said the oxygen. So I asked Sándor, he's sitting here with us today, to write down for me what he thinks about this. So he was the first one 15 years ago, 16 years ago, write down something about Otto Warburg. And I tell you, and all the oxygenation process, and I tell you, we were not far from the truth. We did not know that detailed like today, but it was not far to know. But I wanted to do a serious study, and I went up to look up all the universities in Hungary, Academy of Science, institutes, only governmental place, because I wanted to make sure we have no private entity in the begin with, so we can always say this is a governmental study being done. So I had to go to all these very nice establishments, and I asked them, actually I could not make nothing, I asked them very nicely, like a humble student, to help us find out about the truth. And the first big breakthrough came 2004, when the Academy of Science isotope laboratories came up with the solution. After 2 years, can you imagine, after 2 years they called me up and they said, oh, for the beginning they told me, oh, nothing different in your water than any other water. Yeah, higher the oxygen, but nothing different. So I said, can you look more? So they did some more study on it, and they said, oh, there's nothing different on this water. So after 2 years, Tibor Szarvas professor from the Academy of Science from Budapest, Hungary, called me up, and I can hear his voice. He was really excited. And he said, I think I find out what is your water doing. So I rushed into the academy, and he started to sit down, and red face, he showed me the papers and said, oh, guess what? When you drink this water, your oxygen, in the cell, your oxygen jumps up to 1,000 times higher than normal, and the body is reacting through Fenton reaction. And I said, whoa, what's that mean? And then he said to me, you're scaring your body, and that's why your body reacting. But your body reaction is much, much slower than the oxygen what it gets in. I said, could be harmful? He said, no, because it's a very low contact, but deliver the oxygen right there where it's supposed to be. So we were very excited, and We got the paper from the Academy of Science, so we have this. Immediately, took me a long time from this on to get we did animal trials and all kinds of tryouts, but we really don't get anywhere until we get to the human trials with healthy volunteers. The human trials, healthy volunteers, you know that in Europe law, we have to have an ethical medical license to start it. So we have to find a very good establishment. That was the Chemical Safety and Environment Department in Budapest, Hungary, from Semmelweis University. And they are cooperating together. And I went there and I get a license. It took me 2 years to get the license. The first thing they asked me, do you want to make medicine out of this water? I said, no. Okay, then you can go. So because I told them I don't want no medicine out of it, they let me do this study. And eventually I get the human trial study. And that was 60 people, 30 women, 30 men. It was between 20 to 60 years old. And all they had to have required, not to smoke, don't take birth control pills, and don't take any other drugs for the time when we do the study. So it was very hard to find in Budapest with this environment. Really, everybody was taking or smoking or taking birth control pills. So it's very hard for me to find actual healthy volunteers. And then finally we get all the people together, and the study came out, and it took about 6 months to do it. And I remember it was a very big thing. It was 2009 when they come out and they said the activation of the T lymphocytes is shown. Natural killer cells are growing, B cells and T cells activated, and then we have a definite proof of cellular immune system response after drinking of the water for 14 days or taking the baths 14 days, 1 or 3 times a day. And that was significant because nobody ever could do that. There's no medication for that. Remember, that was in 2009. In 2009, if I talk to an oncologist and I tell them about immune therapy, they don't believe it. They said there is no such a thing as the immune system needed for that. Naturopaths know. Naturopaths knows immune system need to help to restore the defense mechanism. But that time, 2009, they don't. So that was a very new thing for us. Then we see the reactive oxygen species growing. That's what actually proved that to us we have the same results as the Academy of Science. But it took us 5 years to get there. And this study was actually published in 2 major Hungarian medical journals. That was, one of them is the Oncology, and one of them was for the GPs, we have a medical paper. It's not a big impact factor, but it published, so it showed the seriousness of this whole program. Also, we find out the antioxidant capacity is growing. As soon as somebody starts to drink the water, your capacity to take more antioxidants is 72% of the people who was in the study. It showed great improvement. But that time we did not know what was that. Of course, they chased me immediately, the government, and said, okay, it's too strong statements. You better make a study on efficacy and make sure there is no toxication on the human body. So we did the study and came out very well. It showed it's only toxin, only the cytotoxic index grows, which is mean your own immune therapy, and the activated T cells grow and the natural killer cells grow. So we saw very good effect on that. There was no any side effect or any of those nature. Then we get into studies, also with, that was 2011. It was a chemical safety environment study also. Now I find out what was that antioxidant. We find out the antioxidant was nothing else, but we all know was vitamin C. And that on, we start to pay attention on vitamin C, because before that, we told the patient, if you want to take vitamin C, it's good. If you don't, it's fine. But after this study, we start to recommend to see this. And I went into other studies and other checkups on the blood, which was very good. Then we see that on elderly people, because we thought elderly people, they need the most oxygen to get some more oxygen to the cells. So we thought if we have something safe for these elderly people, why not just give it to them? And the studies came out very well. And it also showed increase of body oxygen. That's a very good, that was one of the first ones really showed when the person drank the oxygen, it stayed at the tissue. Nowadays, we can measure tissue oxygen easily. We are not depending on only saturation measurements through the finger, see the blood, how much oxygen we had, because we know everybody have oxygen in their blood. If there is no oxygen, that means you don't breathe right. Then you are in really big trouble. So we want to see the tissue oxygenation, and we want to see now we can measure it two different ways. And of course, all these studies mounted to, we end up to the most needy. The most people who need is the oncology. The oncology patients today going through in reforms through the medical world, because medicine now starting to say things like that, biochemotherapy. Did you hear that? Oh, it's very nice, huh? Good, sounds good, no? Bioimmunotherapy. Actually, that's all of them chemotherapy. So, but that sounds good because now we're getting there, and through the oncology hospital, I had a chance for 2.5 years to work inside there with melanoma, malignum stage 4 cancer patients, and I see them what they went through with chemo, with radiation, with surgery to restart the cancer, reoccurring cancer, recidivas, whereas we were not expecting it, or we were expecting it. But I also had a chance to go with patients who had 4 months to live, 5 months to live. And that was very interesting also, to go through on that. Because they need help anyway. So after the study, the primary results came back to drinking the water and taking the baths. They said it could be an adjuvanting therapy. Kaqun could be an adjuvant therapy because they see good signs of quality of life. People just start to get fun. Can you imagine a stage 4 cancer patient who they told them has 4 months to live, and these patients just all of a sudden soaking, taking the baths, drinking the water, and something happening inside of them, and they're not that sad anymore, they don't have that much pain anymore, so they are not complaining that much. And there's not a false hope, but is a good hope for them to maybe if they can reoxygenate the cells, maybe the cancer will retreat or slower growing. Remember, this is stage 4 cancer, so they got no chemotherapy, no adjuvant therapy. They were just left there to wait for their death. Fortunately, out of the 10 in my group, 2 of them today alive. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, 2 of them. We call this spontaneous remission. In the study was not mentioned, these 2 survived, but I tell you, in this conference, they survived and they're still alive. So we need to find that too and take a good look at them very closely, why they survived that. So the depression level has been successfully reduced for long term. Everybody, even the one, my control group who had no disease, even them, they were happier. Even them. But they were much more moving, wake up early morning, do their exercise, do their routine, their work, and they were much better quality of life. But the diseased people, for them it was just a change, a dramatic change. And we had a very good discussion with the oncology department, the head of the department, which is when I did take Olivia Lam too, to speak with Professor Kastler Miklós, who is today the Minister of Health in Hungary. And he's really helping us greatly now, or at least not blocking us greatly. No, it's really, it's already good. And, but one thing we have to say, off the records, he's always very clear and very honest about the water. If somebody asks, he tells his own opinion. He drinks it, he loves it, and he told me, if it does nothing else, just what I'm about to show you, that's already very good. So they said supportive therapy, but what I did like, what the professor who did the study, the conclusion, it said supportive therapy for motivated patient. Isn't that true? The patient has to be motivated? It's true? Every patient, if you have a patient who's not motivated, no matter what you give, no matter how long you give it to that, will not going to happen. The magic will not happen. The body will not retreat. The supportive therapy means we are supporting the side effect of chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and even the shock after surgeries. And that's what they mean about that, but only with motivated patients. And I like this one, and I really press this to the practitioners, only find people who's motivated. When the people come to me and they're not motivated, I tell them right off the bat, you should not come here. I want to go to this later. This is animal trials. I don't want to get into this. Did any of the presenters has this slides? Any of the presenters who's today here? No? Okay, so let me go back just 1 second. It was made animal trials in Monash University, and it was just showing on drinking ELO water, Kaqun water, and drinking normal water. After 5 days, they were injecting it human tumor cells, prostate tumor cells, into the shoulder of the animal. And look, you can see it very clear. I think right in here, after the 3rd days, it starts to go in much rapid growing on tumor cells. And then you see this, it's very slow and actually stops under 200 unit. And here we're going to see up to all the way to 600, which is mean exponential growth of tumor cells. And you can see the index of it also is much higher. So it has a very good, we are capable to see how it's slowing down the cancer growth in human prostate cells. So we can say, and these animals can absorb orally and reduce oxygen orally and reduce tissue hypoxia. And somehow we could tell them, and they write it down, the water has biological effect on this reducing prostate cancer growth in mice. But we know this in human too. Don't forget, the mice don't read the medical journal, so don't know. Human knows. These studies will coming on. I want to have somebody else talk about this one. Also this one. And the jail also. We will talk about this later. But it's very good. It was made in Korea, the study. Anybody who knows the gel know about the story of it. It's made out of Kaqun water. It's, many creams good for wrinkles, but elasticity is not. We are very special with that. We can make the skin very flexible. Many women has a problem with that because when we are young, you pull the cheek, it bounces back. When we get a little bit older, not me, but when somebody gets older, pulls it out, and then slowly goes back. That's not so good, but when you pull it out and falls down and grows back, that's really hard. But looks like the gel can do this, and also very good for wounds and all kinds of issues with the skin. Overall, it improves the skin very well. And my part right now, it's over. This is what's happening right now so far. And we will have more on this detail, on these studies. And I would like to, or you will.
Carry on.
For me, it's very special. Let me introduce him.
Yes.
Because for me, very special. Andre Máté professor. We are long-time friendship. I could say friendship, because this professor is really a top-of-the-line professor in Debrecen University. And he's been following Kaqun for a long time. And I think it was at the Oncology hospital when we had a annual Kaqun conference, you were there. And that was the second year. So 6 years now, he's with us, and he never given up on us. So I told him to find me some evidence how Kaqun water does the magic what it does. And when he told me first time I have Drosophilas only, I was really not happy about it, because Drosophilas is a fruit fly. What is gonna prove to me? So after years and years, he did convince me. So please give him a very big warm welcome, because it's very special he come here. He will introduce himself.
Right, come on then.